All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for being here tonight. I have the honor of introducing our next reader, Chou Xiong. In Chou's poetry, the landscape of a page becomes a place to rebuild. It becomes home and homeland. It becomes refuge and refugee. And as the experience of rebuilding spans across decades and over continents, the page both endures in its housing of memories, even as the spirit and body senses the world bleeding all around. Perhaps more importantly, the page becomes a portal reaching not only into the past and not only to the ancestors, but forward and ahead toward continued survival. The page and the poetry on it become the means by which a speaker communes with its descendants. Chou's poetry considers the role of the descendant while reminding us that one day we will all become ancestor to someone else. In his thesis titled Refuge the Rupture, Chou revisits the experience of growing up in the Wat Tom Krabak refugee camp in Thailand. The camp, which was officially shut down in the mid-2000s, was home to over 15,000 Hmong, many of whom fled and crossed over from Laos following the US war in Vietnam and Laos. Chou resettled in this country as a young boy with his family in 2004, and many of the stunning poems in his thesis pay careful attention and scrutiny to the bureaucratic process of being processed as a refugee while recollecting both the hardships and humility found in camp life. From a family of 7 gathered around a small bowl of noodles purchased from the earnings of the day's labor, to the laughter of children wearing rubber flip-flops while playing on a soccer field. These poems recall the spatial in connection to the temporal, the layout of the camp in connection to the daily memories tucked inside its walls, the people who found their way out in connection to those who stayed behind. And to think, too, that would have been home for so many, a difficult but necessary refuge, was soon to be shuttered and closed down, bringing us back to the powerful awareness of home as both makeshift and momentary. Once more, Chou's thesis offers an impressive display of his technical skill as a poet. In fact, his work serves as one of the finest examples from a Hmong poet that I've had the privilege to come across in recent years. He's taken experimental poetic craft in English and applied it to a Hmong linguistic infrastructure, and vice versa, as a means to subvert English from within. Chou's thesis includes his exciting version of the Hmong sonnet, Such a Thing Exists, and now it does. An array of visual poems and photographs watermarking the page as shadows lingering in the background, along with so much more. Chou is a student who came to the MFA program with the intent to learn and absorb as much as he could about the craft of poetry. And indeed, I believe he has done that. Chou có cho lưu bác hoạt sơ của lưu xia, của phổ cao hẹn, cái cũng trên thì có yếu hoạt tàu, của hoạt châu đâu có cho lưu bác hoạt, của giống xia đâu có. And now please help me welcome Chou Xiong.
Gosh, thank you so much, Mai Der, for that amazing introduction. And next, I just want to give my flowers to everyone. Thank you, Mai Der and Bren, for investing in me, watering me all these past 3 years and taking a chance on me. And I've learned so much from both of you. And gosh, I am eternally indebted to both of you. And I love you guys so much, and your mentorship, and it means so much to me. I want to give a big thanks to the MFA faculty members. I know that you guys work so hard behind the scenes and making a great environment for us and creating events and resources for us. And so I want to give your flowers as well too. Thank you, Jefferson, for holding it down for all of us, the students, the faculty member, the English department, And yeah, you've been a brother to me too, and I love and cherish your friendship and your support. I want to give a big shout out to my graduating class for 2026. Gosh, when we first came in, and I didn't know where I was gonna go, where I was gonna be, but I was so lucky to be surrounded with each and every one of you, and we made great memories, and we've grown so much, and I truly believe that iron sharpens iron, and you guys have definitely sharpened me. And I want to give a big shout out to the other cohorts, the 2025 cohort, well, 2027 cohort and 2028 cohort, that although our time was brief, I really enjoy our interaction, and I learned so much from all of you, and you have helped me grow so exponentially. So I want to give a big shout out to all of you guys. And I want to give a big shout out to my family, my mom, my dad, my sister, my grandma, my brothers, and my relatives, and all my cousins. And I'm here because of all of you guys, and I love you guys. And I want to give a big shout out to those who are tuning in, my friends, my supporters, my mentors on Zoom, and family members. I love you guys, and I hope to continue to receive your support throughout my life. And so I love you guys. So let's continue to the first poem. So, like my dear said, I am a refugee, born refugee in Thailand. Me and my family, we live in the camp. I was born in 1999, and we came to the U.S. around 2004. So I was there in the camp life for 45 years. And so this thesis manuscript is a combination of exploring my family's experience and my experience, and what it means to be a refugee, and how does that play into the Hmong diaspora and coming to America. And so that is my thesis, and uh, I hope, and I think I know it in my heart, that this thesis is going to get published one day. And so here's the first poem to get us started. And so for my thesis, my main audience, like Mai Der said, is my descendants. So I'm thinking about my future descendants. I'm not married yet. I don't have any kids, but I, uh, I tend to think that when I do have descendants, this is what I will write to them. So this first poem is called Descendants. Say I was patient like my mom who collected crumbs of the meal she made inside her breastbone, harvest and bleed out slowly. The only thing that attracts me are the firefly that speak no language and a garden can't trace where it has gone. If lightning could decipher the verbs and short-lived stories that I have written, it too would briefly shed skin. How does one venture and nerve beyond vast spaces before succumbing to carbon ligaments? Mow me quietly. I wonder sometimes how a house sparrow can die again and again, only to die again, paint my vows in between. Why ask me which country I report to when my lineage refuses to decimate to instability? To learn home is a right, whether fruits and bones traffic beyond the spirit realm remains distilled laughter. Kindly portray me and briefly proof close. That the camp is selfish and already impregnating hope into its residents. The arteries cannot filter poverty. Where else could a refugee liquid away flesh and antidotes meant to ferment bitter flower petals? Will this land miss me? A vessel stripped of love and stress cannot walk on earth ever towards rebirth. Bow before ashes apologizes to animal. Alas, alas, the calcium of burning Josh paper engulfs your ribcage rebelliously. And so you came to see what I left behind. So this next poem is called Foundation, and this is a picture of my grandpa, my grandmas, and my dad, my uncles, and one of our cousins. And yeah, this poem is called Foundation. Foundation. Ilujaw, a wall to village and refuge. Ilujay, a stay to home the body. Ikunilti, a seed to parent the seed. Ituntai, a bride for earth to daughter. Itutu, a shoe to sun for rivers. Ituminua, a child in history our sky. Well, this next one, I'm not going to read it, but this is a important piece in my thesis, and this is a departure list for the Hmong refugees in Thailand and that camp with or Bang Chua. And this is a departure list that is updated every day. And the Hmong refugees will wake up early in the morning to come and line up just to see if they are getting drafted. And so this is I found the original the paper and I customized it to fit. The first name is my dad's name, our family, and then the second name is my grandpa's family, and the third name is my uncle's family, and the fourth name is my grandfather from my mom's side, their family. And so the actual numbers are the specific number to our families. Yeah, and so they play a really big role in the manuscript, and those numbers are referenced throughout the manuscript. Okay. The next poem is called The Chemistry of the Camp. A vacuum of earth, tetrahedral of a monastery, four sectors of neighborhoods, Gong Yi, Gong All, Gong Bei, Gong Lao, repulsing and breeding overcrowded, poor sanitation, PTSD space, much like verified star of earthbound permanent refugee theory. The refugees are bonds that frequent these sectors, their deaths thickening the atoms. My family lived in Sector 4, farthest one from the temple, dirt roads and scarce H2O towers and between red plastic chairs scattered near a tree. Mothers, single bond, aunties, double bond, grandmas, single bond, daughters, weaving energy into a long diasporic blanket to home and nurture the green caterpillars, yet to more as born wire cocoons. It may take years, decades. Did you know that butterflies rest when it rains because the water can damage their wings? We rest too as refugees during the cluster, wicked, foul corruption, earth damning, blood bath regime bomblets storming our lives. Wait for our time to fly again over the horizon. Please always remember this. If the butterflies were to die here, remember to bury them with chemicals and flowers bloom from karst mountains. Yeah. So this next poem I want to dedicate to my amazing and loving mother, Jia Chang. This poem is for you, Mom. Embroider the gap. Mom helixes her arm around my chest. She threads our hunger like a wire board, leading her young to water. Embroiders the gap, waits to be fed, a slice of watermelon with white rice. Her swift hands, a guava needle, bleed now. Her oral stories scatter in time, sober to lifelong span. The camp is aging every day. Zero dose child, K to 12 access denied, anti ma, outside looking in. Mom worries about money, being a good nya, supported daughter. She often sings alone. Not once does she utter, Ushahin. 410, red lip girl, big undertake. She fears death prematurely for all of us. A tiger zodiac exerts wit, flicker and fiber strike, dry HB she chews on for fuel, scolds me to be safe every time I roam around the rain-made dirt canals, hopeful but not naive, tenacious in her teaching of good, a student first before morphing into a masterful mother. Over and over she carves away bad omens, shimmers in her own skin like a boulder flower when light reflects on her black hair. So this next poem, it is called When the Beta Fishes Pray and Crow, and I want to dedicate this poem to my dad, my father, Van Xiong. I remember your joy raising Zhongyong. Their petrified, nearsighted eyeballs wonder about who can weather those tenacious pens of vibrant orange-red hues with hums of purple grain, burrow under the shimmering scales that yearn for silence inside full monsoon jars. A quietness existed long before the lingering pellets could feed a rooster's young mind, where the beta fishes pray and crow. Grandpa bought a white dove on the dirt roads of the camp, waiting to be saved while confined inside of a cage and yamu. Your patience and compassion stems from daily meditations as a young one who drifted for purpose in his life. Your palms embrace to form budding twin mountains, chanting mantras in a lone forest or rural Thailand to find inner circuit lungs to balance the fish brain and blazing gratitude you had for sketching portraits on days that the clouds dare not to utter a singular sound. You cried, men develop while tending to betas, fasting for love and shelter down the lineage. You could have been anything, but yet you chose to be my father. This was a long one, but I'm gonna try to speed through this one pretty quickly. But this is a picture of me. I am this little kid right here. And then yes, this is a picture of me and my dad and all of our male cousins and our grandpas taking a singular photo together that month of that month before we left to come to America. Descendants, umber all knowings back to the soil. Let where the torches are burning mourn the bed on my shoulders. Become an owl worthy of exile. Remember where my grandpa was arrested. How the children lick hard syrup candy to stay sane in the camp. Smell of piss and human feces down in the makeshift gutters. I've been crying ever since I was born. Sorrow that consumes my grandmother. Walk barefoot closer towards the sharp edges of wire fences. To be a child is to accept that resources are finite and that child labor is a small price to pay for families who want carbs, to question authority and archives of the camp. Do we become the hopeless experiment? Are we the barbarians that can only function in the mountains? They deliberately lied about us, how insecure, how they fear our capacity, our capability, our technology, our language, the chronology of home. 40% of the Hmong refugees in the camp were unemployed. Hmong kids fully immersed themselves and utilizing language led to counter-mapping of 133 acres grid legacy. I didn't mind playing freeze tag with 30 kids, age ranging from 5 to 12, one-year-old girl carrying her baby infant brother on her back, red strings tied onto the children's ankle to ward off bad spirits, broken plastic and raining graphite ash, pitching in box to buy a bag of chips, sucking every crust of sediment, chewing on ice cubes on a humid afternoon, wet clothes dry on metal wires one street to another, Thai mama noodles and tomato sardine, monkey bomb ointment can cure every injury. My grandpa was the village leader for Section 4. No, I did not breathe my first breath of oxygen in a hospital. Only on Earth can I briefly be newborn on October 20, 1999. The next one is dedicated to my grandpa. My grandpa was a special guerrilla unit soldier that fought in the Secret War, and he came to the U.S. with us. But unfortunately, he passed away in 2016, and I miss him since. Me and my family miss him since, and he's a big role model to me, and I miss you, Grandpa. Shirley and it's called the heroine. Surely in stillness with a steady gaze, he sees the casualties that parasite and the secret war. His wings, so wide like leather, cuts through the fog. Morning trails, moves like shadow through vines. The Batat Lao do not waver. The northern Vietnamese soldiers are machines, his world where earth and sky collide. Special guerrilla units shimmering in battles, rippling in yellow rain. Surely with time, the war will end, the camps will emerge, the scars will feast on sleep paralysis and yellow orphans. So this next poem is a poem from the perspective of the young boys who were for better or worse, forced to fight in the secret war as young as 8 to 9 years old. And so this is from the perspective of them, and this is for them. Child soldier. I am the hummingbird of the jungle, agile like a river around the vine. I scale these hills to guerrilla supply group 9, shadow behind the bush, wait, observe, dispatch enemy, M16 and pineapple grenades, each kill a slice of my poor anima carbon. The adopted son of custard omelets, I devour yams and cracked rice. I cradle the moon and ooze around like a chicken about to be plucked for dinner. I drink rainwater in the dark, small steps submerged pool of blood. I whisper the song poet and sigh to bury the screams. Tila Roma, Tila Roma. I pray to trauma, please do not replace me with my brother, my carcass, a bulletproof vest for the Americans, a sapling picked off too soon from karst mountains. To the afterland, I tether America on my back. Remember me. Will you redact me? I dare you. I am Guya, Guya. I am Guya, Mio Ducha. So this next poem is called Golden Hour, and it's about just the innocence and the innocence of the kids that live in the camp, and they were clueless and just stress-free, and they didn't know about the refugee camps and how they got there and the world beyond the camp. And so this is a poem just to celebrate their joy. Golden Hour. Green mangoes tumble under sky river, rolling into stomachs. Ozone soccer field reclaimed by dragon boys. The earth drips children who didn't know they were refugees wearing elephant red rubber flip-flops. They dance, laugh, crackle the soil, and turn it upside down. Manger day, their favorite meal after a day of roaming the camp. Into the night, they gather like herds of water buffaloes, peeking through the cracks of a bamboo hut, quietly absorbed by the glowing cartoon characters. A slight pat on the head delivers abundance of joy beyond the lingering monsoon season, beyond the kinship of sugarcane. Okay, so this next poem is the title of my collection, Refuge the Rupture. Refuge the Rupture. Cradle inside shoulders and milkweed, tinker the bamboo, hut the splin, salt the temple, often the cleanse, palm the clench, toxin the release, storm the calm, lu nu zhongli, bei du, mo gu chimbao, so so du. Refuge to rupture, tusk the elephant, me do, gopo chai bla, inhu tau inhu, proud the rituals, water our gods, sacred land, page the rebels, quiet the sun, daughter the voice, all of the grays, good tear the boy, can't tell the sky, slash and burn the fields, tearing the blood, refine the meal, silver the moan, do a chaw the fall, bummed out the camps, summon the tears, wrinkle the refugees, empty the Mekong, recover the bodies, bury the saplings, plug the moon, absence to Jubilee, torch the rooster, elder the trauma, crow the ancestor, Long Jane the plane, CIA the bomb, malnourish the children, tower the cornfield, death the 120 bomb, render the million chua, or try bang chua cripple. So this next poem is a fusion of chemistry, poem, and poetry. Before becoming a poet, I was a chemistry major, and so chemistry and me have always have love for each other. And even though I decided to become a poet, chemistry is still very hard on it's very close to my heart. So this is a poem to honor that connection, and it's called Mongistry. Mongistry. I call upon my lineage, base negative nyo patala, My great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa, Chou Xiong, a Hmong rebel, he ran away to escape re-education genocide in China, left his whole family behind for freedom. His atoms reside within a gap E plus a generational. When you die, all is a blur. Bay, gone, blau, zone, gold, a young soldier fought red communists. Yellow liquid, equilibrium, T2, mycotoxin, guerrilla soldiers. No, strike through records. Chemistry can massacre and yet give birth. Vạn bị, Uzi, single bond, wed, double bond, double bond, double bond, my mom, silver bars inside the camps, heat, va, acid, positive, lone, form, joy, to breakaway, new substance from agony, lukewarm, poverty. Elements plus undiscovered is my descendants. Let this corrosive single bond, refugee, double bond, nidification salt with me. Chia cho kể lũ ninh tân cho, sống cho cú. This next poem is, these next two poems are poems that I wrote exploring the U.S. Resettlement application process that all the home refugees had to do in order to be picked and to come to America. And so this one is called Metamorphosis Came. Metamorphosis came last night, crickets, ion, 8 kidney, although 963 hertz calm whistles, ominous, a school of greenhouse combust and ready for consumption camp. Southeast, north the west, lean on channel as birthright cannot citizen tie inside 133 acres of resettlement application program is not guaranteed. Pray by incense day, UNHCR number 1106, double bond 1105, double bond 1104. Interview all medical records from deceased brain relative to population growth survey, life scan exam, children below 10 cycle. Golden Rita, between sister dragonfly, Gomo Chou Xiong, blood clots spreading, antibiotics. Swallow English down as vitamin D when vaccines are imminent. Clean bodies only for this country. Wait in line for presentation slideshow. Too much Hmong vows incoming. So vow to us. I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. This next poem is called Refugee Claim. Refugee Claim. Camp urge sharp emoden as green red chilies drive wonderful paperwork. Need for resettlement. My appendix dilate per season braver than form. Told together taller aloe vera one another to mitosis reflection of a broken buffalo jug. Chachai go bla, chachai go bla. TKB 2723 must longer wait in line. No first class for bonds who didn't serve. When elephants dipolar from Laos and we, the children inside pockets, we molder not. Then can only the shadow of fence nitrate its mouth before calling itself a flapping screen. A depth of ether. Your parents exist. Chew, remain, additional remarks, no brief required to lie about our ages by 10, twitch whenever it nests after silver coins, chisel and siege under 44 breaths. Good evening, Jam home. Nipua tau no more. Nipua tau no more. Okay, so this next poem is a poem dedicated to Paul Moore. Paul Moore is an American poet. He is a big hero to me, and one of the reasons why I started poetry when I went to fortunately was able to go to his one of these last readings. before he passed away in 2020. And he is very crucial in my journey. And this one is for you, Paul. Ni kami nông sinh ít địa thôi ít địa vì cho game bao xua nhỏ nhặt đồng đề chúng to với chúng ông tự cho 我只摸一步地球，一山个口，这周波有波一点头一点，背影只大地之下，有道路呢，到好桌，唔错不得把命，他因背有波，他背一听，还说路不接一点头一点，古马少龙路，古马少大阿背nhau。So this poem is a poem about a conversation that me and my dad had when we were uh, leaving the camp at night, and he was carrying me on his back, and we were walking with another cousin, and we had a conversation, and it was very dark, and we were walking to the bus, and this is how I would reimagine what it would sound like. So this one is called "The Walk Before the Bus." Me do climb on my back. Do not be startled by the dark. A long walk on the road. Everyone is waiting for us. Gutsi, where are we going to? A speck of water near the edges of your eyes to make the rooster mourn in silence. Me do. This is where I grew up, where I met your mother, where your grandma is buried. Gutsi, this camp is slowly losing its limbs, purging out its refugees into the unknown. Gopon Chayo. Mitu, yes, I am scared, but I am more scared of not finding a better future sky for you. We must sleep. So this will be my last poem. But this poem took me 6 hours, and this poem is in the shape of a Hmong pattern and symbol in our Bandao, our tapestry. And this specific symbol, a specific pattern represents home. And it's called the closing of Vang Jua. An airplane flew somewhere far above us. I was frightened of what life in America would be like. Chou Xiong. The cavity and the heart requires passage along dwindled roads afar. May this meal free you. Roast chicken provokes innermost quiet goes. Please eat roasted cherry tomato, not for the succulent taste, but warm for the soul. Feast on almost smoked sardines, color with salt and farewell. Decompose alkaline water to filter temporal encroachment away. Pour ahead to new home. Watch it unfold. Don't desecrate our graves. Here is a toast made to your death ceremony. Thank you.